a joy and an honor to be here on another live, greeting you wherever you are and having a very, very informative discussion with you. Okay, I think this discussion is very much needed, and more lectures like this is needed all around the world, especially in countries that have been colonized. And so today we're going to discuss how secular Christianity denies your spirituality and how you have to reclaim your spirituality. Okay, because that is what will guide you into discovering that your real identity is your divinity. Never for once have I ever taught you to look outwardly for the answers of life. I've always taught to look inwardly to discover the phenomena of life. And so everyone in this world is seeking to know who they are. Everyone is seeking for answers. And you're not going to get the answers unless you have certain experience. Because real knowing is when you have the experience for yourself and not based on what someone else have been saying to you. Okay? For example, there are many people who repeat what was said to them by their religious leaders, their political leaders, their school teachers, and even their parents. And they never question anything. And so their spirituality is being conquered and controlled. And so they do not know how to create their reality consciously because they don't even know how to awake the genie. Okay? Yeah, there's a genie in you that you must awake. And when you awake that genie, your wish is the command of the genie. And you will definitely fulfill the prophecy. The prophecy of your autobiography, your spiritual autobiography, that must be understood metaphysically, esoterically, and psychologically. And the divine infinite teaching that you must receive to have you to focus your energy inwardly. So, as we dive into this juicy topic, okay, I hope the things that I'll say will resonate with you deeply, and they will definitely help you to understand the ills of colonialism and how devastating it is when one have a colonial mentality. And you can never have a colonial mentality without you having a religious and superstitious mentality. One that is pointing you to look on the outside and never teaching you the law of cause and effect. So when I speak about Christianity, I'm not saying that you mustn't read your Bible or understand your Bible from a metaphysical standpoint or an esoteric standpoint or from a psychological standpoint. I'm saying if you're going to read it with the understanding that it is a book of mind science. Read it with the understanding that you are the main character that is playing all the parts in the Bible. Know also that many other books were written before the Bible. understand also the importance of being free and make the decision whether you're going to live your life in freedom or in imprisonment. You see, there are many systems that have already been set up to keep you imprisoned. And the biggest imprisonment is in this body. It takes place in this body. That's where the biggest imprisonment takes place. And so, if I could imprison you in your mind, I don't have to incarcerate you in a physical building. I just have to do it mentally. That is why they restructure the slave system and have it more in a systematic way. So if you attach yourself to secular Christianity that's pointing you to look outwardly, you chop. And if you're going to join a secret society, you're getting information that hand down to you from someone else too. So they could blind you from the exoteric and they could blind you from the esoteric. Get that and understand that. So, for example, if I was to simplify it and break it down and show you the system, what used to be known as the field slave is now the consumer slave. Where they give you a mindset of a consumer. They give you the mindset of a competitor. You believe you live in a dog-eat-dog world. You believe that there is such a thing as scarcity when it comes to money, when money has been printed. And you can print as much money as possible to give to the entire world, but there wouldn't be no rich and no poor if they was to do that. Okay? So people still going wrong with this kind of mentality, kind of wrong, lack, scarcity, guilt, shame, judgment, condemnation, and moreover, fear. They govern by fear. And that has been done through religion. Okay? And that is where they use the exoteric Christianity, the secular Christianity, where they interpret the Bible to you as if it is literal and secular history. And you're so brainwashed that when I say to you, if your right hand offend, you must literally cut off your right hand. You will say, no, it doesn't mean that. It's symbolic. But yet you cannot understand that the entire book is symbolic. And you cannot understand that your words that you're using is the expression of a thought. Yet you're going to turn around and tell me that I am deceived when I say that the Bible is a book of mind science. You're going to use your mind to tell me that it is not a book of mind science. That is when someone is mentally retarded. That's when someone is being delusional. And so that is on the religious side. But on the secret society and these other fraternities and so on that they set up now, that's how they set up the horse slaves. So I was showing you how they keep the field slaves, right? They run it through the school system. They keep them also in the banking system control. And the borrower is a slave to the lender. They keep them poor. Okay, and remember the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender, and that is in the same very Bible that they're reading and do not understand it's a book of mind science. So you're showing you, okay, how minds does overpower other minds and control other minds, okay? So that happening there, and then in the secret society now, and the fraternities and so on, and you have like the black bully and all of these kind of people now. These are the modern day house slaves. Your presidents, your prime ministers, your minister this, your minister that, whether is it minister agriculture, tourism, ecclesiastical affairs. Do you realize in my country they have a minister for ecclesiastical affairs? Woo! So all of those different departments they set up. If you do not realize that you're the Lord and Master of your destiny, and that it is your own thoughts that creates your reality and creates your personality, and you do not really understand the inner meaning that says, as a man thinketh, so is he. If you do not understand the inner meaning of that, or you don't have the understanding of what that really means, you know what? You're gonna get trapped in this system. So what they're doing, they are crucifying your awareness, your consciousness between two thieves. So as long as you're on this planet, you will always meet those who are promising you a good life while you are here. If you would willingly, because remember, it's a choice. That's why I'm saying you have a choice between freedom and enslavement. So they make it so simple for you to just do this, an X, and then realize that you're giving your Christ consciousness to them, your self-awareness to them. Why do you think they refer to Christmas as Xmas? Because the X is actually Christ, represent Christ. The part of you that is not known to others, but to you, because it's taking place within. That's why the true Christmas takes place within. The true Santa coming from the North Pole to bring gift to you have to do with the backbone. This is the ladder that you can come down the chimney. This is a place at the chimney. That's why when you activate your inner power and your reticular activating system is being activated and your eye is open and your whole body is full of light, then you're going to understand neuroscience and all of those things without ever study them. You're going to understand astrology, astronomy and all of those things without ever going and get some sort of degree or saying anything. Because why? You are the top of the pyramid. That's why the pyramid they were never capped, because you are the real capstone and the pyramid. And that is why from when I had my awakening experience, I could see and understand the eye in the middle of a pyramid. And then I could understand the eye above a pyramid. I don't have to join any brotherhood, join any fraternity to know that. Then when you awake, you realize with great power come great responsibility. Okay, so I use my energy wisely for the upliftment and the advancement of all of humanity. But you can't do that without mashing some cons. Okay, because for example, when you use certain platform, like this kind of platform that I'm using here, you can't do it without mashing some con. You can't do it without upsetting some people. You can never speak the truth without upsetting certain people. Okay, because for example, when you realize that Christianity denies your spirituality and you realize you can choose freedom or imprisonment, you can't help but see the fake Israelites and the fake Jews and these Kazan people from Gaza and their lies. You see, when your eyes open, you would not be longer pronouncing a blessing to Israel and calling them chosen. You would never do that. Don't let nobody fool you. You see, the way how we were raised in the islands, in the Caribbean, and I want to believe Africa and all around the world, you hear religious people always giving praises to Israel and calling the people there blessed and chosen, and not knowing you can't do that or say that without denying yourself. You have to have self-doubt, you have to have self-hate to really do that, and you have to basically be saying to yourself that they are superior and you are inferior. So you're giving superiority to others beyond yourself. That's what you're doing. So most people in the Caribbean, they were raised to have a Zionist mindset in terms of a conquered mindset by the Zionists. Yeah, they're all over the entire world. And so when your eyes open, you start to see them, which you wasn't seeing them before. You start to see them having all of the businesses in the islands, and they keep expanding all the time. Like for example, in the time of the pandemic, the big scamdemic, the wind is blowing, okay? Yeah, in that time, I was very observant and seeing how much they were opening up more new resorts and so on, and setting up more enslavement camp for the people, knowing that they're going to leave school every year and so on, and what kind of mindset they're going to leave school with and so on. And while people was busy with the pandemic, okay, which is basically scamdemic, the pandemic, okay, I was noticing all those things, that they were establishing more and more resorts in the different islands and so on. And that's when Sandals made the announcement in my country. Okay, and look, COVID was happening, right? They were saying it's a pandemic, but yet Sandals, well, Adam Stewart, okay, because Sandals, the owner, Butch Stewart, he have a family in Jamaica and one in America. Okay, just some time ago they were in court, fighting for things I leave in the trust and so on. Okay, but them people know how to settle this stuff. Okay, so but the guy Adam Stewart and thing, he was here down here buying, and if you check my book, that would have written called Bukumembe Resort and the Messenger. That was Bukumembe Resort. That was the resort I walk off and tell them I'm not no indentured servant and no slave, and I don't have a slave mind. Okay, when they had this Caucasian guy who was a trainer with me who didn't know anything, he wasn't even qualified. Okay, and he admitted to me, because when certain things to do and he can't do it, he had to admit to me, because when he tried to tell me, oh, you the man, I said, no, you the man, you do it. The people coming home from England, they're accustomed to do yoga, and they want to do a yoga session. When they come down here, you the man, you do it. No, then he whispering to me and tell me he can't. And then they wanted to send him back up in England to get a quick certification course and come back and want to promote him over me, like he's my boss. You see the game they playing, and they will continue to play the game because they don't teach you to learn to forgive your enemy by making you believe in a God that have an enemy who can't forgive your enemy. But this God love you so much and he cares for you that he wants you to forgive your enemy. So when your eyes open, you will see the real enemy. When your eyes open, you see the devil. You see, they always teach you to believe in God, but they never teach you to believe in the devil, because they themselves, they are the devil. So they don't want you to see the devil. You see wolves in sheep clothing. That's why I'm saying you're endangering your spirituality by accepting secular Christianity that is pointing to look outwardly. But I am saying, if you grow up in Christianity, just read the Bible from a different angle, from a metaphysical, esoteric, and psychological angle, and just use reverse psychology and start to put things to work in your life. And you will realize that it is your own thoughts that is creating all the realities in your life. And so you start to be the Lord and Master of your destiny. Then you start to become the Lord and Master of money, because they're playing an economic game. It's an economic game. That's why if you could come on the internet and be a clown and be used by them, you could be like a Kevin Hart, you could be a Kai Sinat. I'm afraid to call names, I could watch all of them and know, what I mean? People who could easily, bend over and give themselves to be used. And you chopping false identity, looking at your skin color and think that is your real identity, and you identify yourself as black, you identify yourself as brown, you identify yourself as this. So because a man look like you're going to follow him, you're going to listen to him. That's what they do. They do it in the music industry. They do it in the movie industry and so on. It just yesterday I was looking at a movie that they show you some guys who they refer to as terrorists. They come all the way from Nigeria and was kidnapping a white man in America who was running an oil company. But when your eyes open and you could read between the lines, you will able to see it's not a movie, it's actually a documentary of what is happening in the 5th largest oil producing country, where the people still live in dire poverty because the wealth is not equally distributed. And who is behind it? The same people who moving in right now into the Caribbean. And they want to make the Caribbean their little backyard. And so what they do, they use propaganda. The same people who have and they own big pharma, and they never educate you about the pharmaceuticals being drugs, and they never really educate you about your ancestors and how you and your ancestors are the same, and how nothing new under the sun, and it's the same thing happening over and over. They never really get you to sit down and think about how could the slave and the slave master end up with the same savior or the same Messiah. Anyone with common sense will ask themselves that question. How is it that the slave master and the slave have the same Messiah and they praying to the same Messiah? So common sense, if you have any common sense, which one you want to answer? Because if they tell you that this Messiah, would they make you believe that he's the mediator between you and God, okay? They say he turned to a woman and he said to the woman, shall I take the children bread and give it to dogs? So if he call us out and raise a woman, dog, and he say, now we're going to take the children bread and give it to dog, then I want any black preacher around the world or anyone who subscribes to secular Christianity to tell me whose prayer is going to be answered between the slave and the slave master if they have the same Messiah. You have to really be blind and dumb to really think that the slave and the slave master could always end up with the same Messiah. If you understand from since the dawn of time how you conquer nations and so on, after you defeat them in battle, let's say physical battle, okay, many times you get them to serve your God. So one man God could be another man devil, and another man devil could be another man God. You have to understand that. And that is why today, like for example today, churches are filled. And all of these churches, they were founded by a white man or a white woman. And it always goes back straight to the Zionists. And what they do, or what they did, they tell you that the Zionists and them in Israel, that they deny their Messiah. But you accept their Messiah. And that they are blind, but your eyes open. And then a time will come when their eyes will open and they will receive their Messiah. You see how they're tricking you? While they have you thinking like that, they're making use of the Kabbalah. They're making use of the Zohar. And they are using magic. Because you are denying your magical self. You are actually denying the genie and not giving the genie the access that the genie needs to operate, to make your wish his command. And that's how they've been kept, the world has been kept in economic slavery. And when people start to wake up, like in the Caribbean, then you're going to see warships, nuclear submarine, and all these things in the Caribbean Sea under the disguise of narcotics and drugs elimination. You're going to see fishermen being afraid to go out on the sea because you have a big bad bully on the sea blowing up boats without any question because they want to strengthen the kingdom. So when Christianity and the religious mentality and so on start to fail in these islands, the next thing is arms they're going to use. You see, a lot of people try to, they try to feed your mind to make you think that Hitler was some devilish man and that Hitler, they tell you Hitler killed so much of the Jews, but they never tell you the reason why Hitler killed so much of the Jews. They tell you the Jews were persecuted, they tell you about the Holocaust, but they never tell you the real reason. Just like people in my country, okay, their spirituality was taken away from them and they were given secular Christianity. Yet they're claiming that their religion come from Africa. And I'm speaking about what is known as the spiritual Baptists in my country. And they were given a holiday just recently. And if you ask them, why were they persecuted? Which common sense will teach you, no one in the Caribbean was ever persecuted for being Christian. No. They meet them with the spirituality they couldn't understand, which I could understand, which I can understand and could break down. And the people who doing it and involved in it, they can't do it. They can't break it down. They don't understand it. When I ask them why they do certain things, they don't know. Yet they're the leaders. And when tourists come to this island, they're looking for places of interest. And one of the places they will go is the big Roman Catholic church that they use slave labor to build. I'm not saying a spiritual Baptist church. They don't go look for that. They don't go looking for the hieroglyphs. And so these people have nothing to show concerning their spirituality more than the practice that was polluted with Jesus and secular Christianity. And you know what? They will turn around and call me stupid and crazy if I try to correct them. So my brother, my sister, you listen to me. I'm not trying to change the system. And I will never encourage you to try to change the system. I will be saying to you that you must become the change you want to see. Learn to think more articulately. Learn to think outside of the box. And turn your back against secular Christianity that is pointing you to look outwardly and see the Bible as a book of mind science. When you start to see it as a book of mind science, you could debate reason with anyone and any angle they come from. Because, for example, for the man who would tell you that the Bible is literal and secular history, you could just ask him to tell you of one thing that anyone would have done if they were literal men and women who existed thousands of years ago. Okay? Ask them to tell you one thing that they would have done, or they would have said that wasn't first a thought, or first an idea, or first imagined. Even the idol that was given to them by the Zionists, okay, that they refer to as, some people say Yahshua, some people say Joshua, some people say Yahuwah, some people argue about a letter, but a letter J was in existence or not. All these things that I think is basically foolishness, okay? If you ask them of one thing that this character would have said or done, or this person, which if they believe is a person, one thing would have said or done that wasn't first a thought or first an idea in the mind. So I'm telling you, our people have been kept mentally retarded through secular Christianity. That's the greatest weapon that have been used against our people to keep them in stupidity. That is why I always say, Africa, think about Africa having so much of wealth. They're the people. And when I say the people, it's not all the people because they don't show you the rich part of Africa. There's the rich part of Africa and there's the poor part of Africa also. And there's always the rich and the poor in every country. Okay? And it all have to do with a mental disease. It's a mental disease and it could be fixed. It's just like you can carry your car in the garage to get it fixed. The airplane can go in the hangar to get fixed, and you're going to fly in it and risk your life. Just as you fix the vehicle and you're risking your life, and in everything you do, you're risking your life. But it's the same thing. You have to take risk in fixing your mind and forget about the fear they put on you from a very young age concerning hell and heaven. Because when you believe that when you die, that you're going to go to some devil's hell and you're going to be punished, yet they tell you that this God loves you, you have to be real delusional to believe that a God that they tell you that is omnipotent and omniscient and omnipresent, that he need your worship. No, it is you have to learn how to worship and honor and embrace the power that you have in you, the power to create. You have the power to destroy. You have the power to make alive. You have the power to wound. You have the power to heal. You have the power to be rich. You have the power to be poor. It is you who possess that power. It is you who have to experience that you are God in flesh, having a human experience. There's no mediator. There's no one that's going to pay the price for you when you have to face your utility bills. All around the world, they set up a system where you have to pay utility bills. And there's no man that's going to appear from the sky and turn literal water into wine so you could make some money to deal with the system of Caesar. That is why you have to understand that all science and all technology come from the human mentality. So everything is created within and must be displayed on the outside. They have what you call colossus, which they run in the internet and all of these things and AI and so on. It was from the mind. And anything that comes from the mind could be stopped by the elements. Because the elements is what you have to use. The element of earth, wind, water, and fire. And we have in us the power to stop Colossus. All it takes is a strong enough tornado or an earthquake or even Yellowstone to blow. So, you see, when you understand that there's no such a thing as the most powerful nation on this planet based on atomic weapon and based on warships and all the display and clowning that they're doing like right now in the Caribbean Sea. They want you to believe that is real power and that is displaying of power. No. The power that you have is greater than the atomic bomb. The power you have is greater than any amount of power that America would use billions and billions of dollars to create. China, Russia. The real power. You carry the real power. But because they subjugate you through giving you a religious and a superstitious mentality, you see power from the outside and fail to realize that there's only cause and effect. So you're looking at the effect. So a man stays in his office and blow up a boat by his orders because he have some clowns, okay, who leave school, they wanted a job, so they join the army and so on, okay. And if you look at the armed forces and the police and all of this and how they set up, and you look at NATO, you see the same thing. It's just in a bigger way, okay. So he says Sam run all throughout, okay, and he could secure his family while you leave your family, and you give an instruction, and you're gonna blow up boat with fishermen trying to make a living, saying that you're gonna eradicate drugs when you're supposed to deal with the drug addicts in your country. Why they using so much fentanyl in America? Why they, if America is a Christian nation and Christianity is good for us, okay, and what I'm saying, if it's not true that it denies your spirituality, or people could be in a country and they be spiritually woke and they use a thing like fentanyl. Why these people using so much fentanyl? You see, a lot of these people cannot deal with reality because they're looking for a true happiness from the outside. And that's why when you, as a melanated person, get caught up and try to measure yourself with the Joneses and want to live up to the Joneses and the Kardashians and them and these kind of people, and you think these people happy, and you chasing after money, thinking that these people happy, and you think this is the way to happiness. These people miserable. These people are so miserable, they're using fentanyl and all of these things. And then they want to come in the Caribbean and they want to control the Caribbean Sea. And they want to control the oil. The biggest oil reserve you have in the world. Even though it's not a English-speaking country, but it's a Caribbean country. They're right between the border, South America and the Caribbean Sea right there, and so on. And these people honor the ancestor. A man named Simon Bolivar, something like that. And they call themselves the Bolivarian people. Because why? They honor the ancestor who fight a war. And then we look, we who say we embrace in Christianity and believing in Christianity. Them people never forget to say L'Ouverture in Haiti and I'm trying to remember Henry Christophe and so on. I'm trying to remember some of the names of the people who stood up in Haiti and fought against the French, and then America and the French turn around and cripple the people of Haiti. Then they turn around and saying that there's a man in Haiti named Barbecue, and they give him that name because he just burn people alive. You see how propaganda works? And all of these things go back to the Zionists. And so when they came up with the big scam they make, the big plan they make, because the president in Haiti, because I watched the people celebrate the carnival, you know, the man Moïse. I remember watching video and thing, and the people were celebrating the carnival. The man said to his people, "This is your culture. Enjoy yourself, play your carnival. I'm not telling you all to wear no mask." The only people in Haiti I see, but what I see was wearing masks, was the president and his wife, his family, them were wearing masks. Only them was wearing masks. I see the people playing carnival and enjoying themselves, man. Say enjoy all themselves. Same thing, people in Venezuela wasn't masking up themselves and going with this whole pandemic scam they make, you know. Then after that, they widen the gap between the rich and poor. They care about the price of thing. After Amazon and all of them make billions and billions and billions of dollars from this scam they make. And this bold-faced man who want to send ships in the Caribbean, in his office, in your office, telling you, oh, you make how much billion, you make such and such a billion, you make such and such a billion, and he having fun watching the fishermen boat blow up, and he having fun. That's people who are not happy with themselves. They're not happy. So, they can't be God without the devil. But the devil hiding himself. and he coming like a sheep. In wolf, he coming like a sheep when he's a wolf. Can't forget 1984, they invaded Grenada. They run in Guyana and Guyana oil. They control Trinidad and Trinidad oil. And when I traveled Trinidad so many times in the past, so many times. And I used to ask myself, why is it that black people at the bottom, the Indian and the Chinese and the whites in Trinidad, they live up there. And the black people live down there, yet they go in church every Sunday. Yet they're the most Christians. They're supposed to be the most spiritually people, the most spiritually woke people. They're supposed to be, right? And they're the poorest. It's just what, this week, I met a guy from Trinidad who came up here and he remember me. He shot me up. Okay, it was he and his wife. He remember me when I used to travel down to Trinidad to go to the Torrex's assembly. Okay, when I was still trapping secular Christianity, believing that there was a last day prophet and this white man was basically KKK and Mason, okay? A man named William Branham. That was the last experience I had, but I had to go through all of that as a part of my experience, okay? Until I discovered my mystical self, okay? And, you know, he shot me up and thing and so on and all of that, and remind me who he was and so on. And so I asked him where he at now and so on, spiritually speaking. All he did, because remember the man get caught up with $28 million, the church, the Third Exodus Church. If you type in right now, Google Vin Dial and the 28 million, it's what you're talking about. But it's up to 32 million because they get the 2.6 in the church afterwards. But those was like $50, $20, $10, $5 and so on. But when it comes to the $100 bill, because I was going to change the $100 bill. Okay, and a year before that, I told them that the man ministry is done. It's finished. A year before that happened. And I spoke about it the Old Year's Day and posted the New Year, and that's why he did the year. By the time the year finished, the Old Year, there was the last time for the $150 bill, and he had 28 million and $100 TT, and he went by the bank, and that's when the holy money and so on and all of that. And in 2 years, they will either have to give him back his money and pay him with interest if he get back his money and so on. Up to now, nobody know what happened, but I know what happened because I told them before that he was going to settle it outside the court. Because that was the same thing the white man in America named William Branham, the false prophet, that the same thing he did too. And I could say he false because I find him. Yeah, the man died even before I born, around 1965, and I found the man in Woodland. I know this chap your soul. Going wrong and wrong and wrong. I had to go behind the man and meet him face to face. He was shocked when he see me face to face. So my brother and my sister, when I speak about how Christianity is denying your spirituality, I know what I am talking about. When I tell you that they set up both churches and secret society to keep you a certain way, I know what I am talking about. Okay? So my brother and my sisters, I definitely gonna come to a close of this lecture, but I'm gonna conversate with you a little bit more by going through the comments, you know what I mean, and make it a little bit more interactive. Okay. In a nutshell, I'm saying to you that you have in you a genie. Don't make nobody fool you. I know what I am talking about. And the genie will awake. But you can't awake the genie if you believe in secular Christianity. You can't awake the genie unless you realize that you have to accept both God and the devil. Don't make nobody fool you. They tell you, oh, accept Jesus Christ as the only Lord and Savior. So why you can't accept the devil? When you are both. Tell me of one preacher that you know of who is married that never look at another woman and never had a thought about another woman. And thought become things. Tell me, which boss in this world could be good? And which boss in this world could be evil? Nah, so always be both. In your mind, will always be good and evil. Positive thinking and negative thinking. And you're going to battle with that till the day you leave this planet. So, Don't fool yourself thinking you could be good. That's a Zionist program that they use to keep you enslaved. And when I look more deeply, if I was to go around in my country and ask the people who are the first Europeans to enslave melanated people, everybody gonna say the Portuguese and so on, because that's what they teach in school. Man is the Zionists and they still are the people enslaved. The Jews are afraid to say that. They're the ones who are black people enslaved up to this day. And not until they wake up and realize this is the truth, that they're the ones who they're talking about, they are chosen and so on. When you stop giving your blessing to them, you know, and you take your breath away from ever blessing them, speaking good upon them, all these people who go commit all kind of genocide. What were they doing in Gaza? What were they doing in Yemen? What were they doing in all of these other places? I mean, these other places I'm mentioning too, you know. Don't think that they are your friends too, you know. Okay? But I just coming from one angle, because it doesn't matter whether you have the Bible, I have the Quran. If you're following the Sanskrit, if you're doing Chi, whether Tai Chi, Qigong, are you reading the book by Law too? I'm trying to remember that. The Dao Du Cheng and all of those things. When you understand the thing, it's one science. It's the same thing in all of these different cultures. But there's a people whose slave master give them their image to worship. And right now, the buildings are filled. And the tithes and the offering heading all the way up to Cleveland, Tennessee. Yeah. So it's always a Zionist program. Okay? And you have to call a spade a spade. And not until you reach the point of understanding how inevitable it is for you to die, that you will be able to overcome. So whether you die now or you die tomorrow, the same death. You have to face death. Don't run away from death. Don't afraid to die. Too much of people are afraid to die. You think they're going to die, they're going to hell. No. Don't make the body fool you. Okay? Once you learn how the mind works and you start to create heaven here, that consciousness goes when you go. Okay? So my brother and my sister, I can go on and on, but definitely gonna read these comments here. Okay, and after that, when I finish with these comments and so on, I'm definitely gonna close. Okay, it's almost an hour. Okay, I don't want to be too long. I came out a little bit kind of late this morning because I have some stuff to do. Okay, so yeah, so let me just sum up by saying that even right now, as we can see what's happening in the Caribbean Sea, the people who go into church are saying, oh, well, this is the fulfillment of prophecy, this, that, not knowing it is because thoughts become things and how the mind works, and how, because the Bible is a book of mind science, everything that you see written there, you will see it happen here because it's just the expression of the mind, okay? And people don't understand that. Okay, and so they will be still saying, oh, Israel is blessed, Israel is God chosen, because they program the preachers to do these things. Okay, the new horse slaves, the preachers, the politicians, you name it, the people running the secret society and all of these things, okay? So my brother, my sisters, you have to be aware of these things, and you have to learn to accept those who have been sent to you, okay? Because the messenger and the messenger are one. Things that I'm saying to you, these are not make-up things. Everything is based on my experience. And I'm telling you, I experience God. Because I search for God. I want to find God. I found myself. I found the power that everyone is seeking for. That's going to make you happy. Yeah, not money. That power is we create money. You understand? You know, there's no scarcity. You know, right now, as I speak to you, I'm watching a tree right in front of me. It's a nutmeg tree. Look at the abundance of nutmegs on it. I'm looking at trees all around me. Look at the abundance of leaves. That's why I'm putting a book together called the science of abundance and prosperity. And it's just simple nature using show the science of abundance and prosperity. But the chick, and my name Wallace Waldo read a book, the science are getting rich. You see how the chicky? You're a chicky, though. Okay, let me just read some comments. Okay, this person here, JRO, Chicago. Okay, it's great having someone here from Chicago. Big up to the people of Chicago. Okay, I see they want to send ice and make a havoc in Chicago. Yeah, we are the main character, brother. Preach, yeah. You are the main character in the Bible. And until you know that, you live idolatry, okay? And this other person here, Vicky says, Waza. Okay. Someone say what's popping. Someone say free your mind and your ass will follow. Someone else says here, I am from Brazil, Rio de Janeiro city. Great having people from Brazil. There's also a black population of Brazil. And if you check the history, how, many times when they bring our people over from Africa, they used to come to a port there in Brazil. And anyone who's been following soccer for years, you see the talent of the black man and the Brazilian team. You know, how they could have displayed themselves. Yeah. Okay. Have you ever heard about Rivaldo and all of those kind of people, Pele and all of those kind of people? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So always a pleasure to have my brother Nimrod. He said, greetings, prophet of awareness. We are here to be further enlightened and also welcome doubters and curious seekers. Yes, we are here having this human experience to become more enlightened and become more aware of who we are. And it is not by intellectual knowledge. It is by putting knowledge to work. You know, I feel so good when I put knowledge to work and I see things happening in my life. You understand? I am prospering more than I've ever prospered in my life. You understand? I don't have to depend and wait on a paycheck. You understand? From YouTube or from Google. You understand? Because when this knowledge strikes me, I realize every time any door closes, because you tap in to the part of you that is creative and innovative, you start to innovate, You realize if Africans get rid of the idol, Jesus the idol, and they start to tap into the spirituality, you know they don't bypass all science and technology, bypass Elon Musk, all of them, Yeah, they're afraid of that. So I becoming, as I said, I becoming more and more creative and so on and approving. You understand? That has become things approving for myself that, there's a genie in you. And when that genie awake, man. Okay? Yeah, if you listen to me, right, and you like movie, okay, look at Wishmaster. Wishmaster 1, 2, 3, you name it. Look at all the Wishmaster. And here, more and more people start to talk about these movies. They're making sure they're moving them off the internet, You understand? Those are more harder for people to dissect. They might leave them a little bit. But those who so easy for people dissect until they're moving them, That's why they remove certain movies. They can't find them now. Okay. But take a look at Wishmaster. And you see this ugly evil thing and you can check with the ugly evil thing, Nah, the genie ain't that ugly. The genie is you facing yourself. You seeing God face to face, I call it face pedial. Yeah, he plays at the pineal gland. When they open when I see people try to tattoo I and themselves, I Horus and this and all of that, and you have the experience. You have the understanding of the mythology. But they call it mythology. Okay. Someone says here, hi, I am from South Africa. It's always a joy and a pleasure to have brothers from all over the world, having my brothers and sisters tuning in from South Africa. And, you know, to have someone tuning in from South Africa, you know, this person have to be someone who is a seeker and who is on the journey to find that their real identity is their divinity. And when you do, you will definitely shit on secular Christianity. You would. Okay, you would know it's an idol. And you see how they're keeping idolatry. You see why they have the Christian program in the school system, even in the islands. Okay? But it doesn't mean I wouldn't send my child to school, but I teach my child better, to know better. Okay? And make sure you instruct teachers too. Do not indoctrinate my child. You see, it is your responsibility. Even if you send your child in the school system, you have to show them. Look at the teachers, are they rich? You have to talk to your children like that. You understand? And I always say politicians and teachers is like, you know, the teachers and so on, they teach from a curriculum, what they call a syllabus. It's the same thing with politicians, you know. Right now in my country, everybody waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow is a holiday. It is what they call Independence Day, and I believe tomorrow is when the Prime Minister is going to announce when his election, and I believe election is going to be before year end, so it might be November next month. Okay, to get it done, campaigning hard. Okay, and if one lose and the next one take over, he just have to continue with the project, you know. He can't go outside, you know. Why you think the boy in America could be behaving so bad? Huh? Why you think he could do that? Blowing up ships, all thing in the Caribbean Sea, and don't want to answer to those things and calling people criminal when he doing the criminal work. The boy Donald Trump. Yeah, someone else someone says Jesus spoke in parables, and without a parable, he did not speak. You have to realize you can't speak a word and it wasn't first a thought or first an idea or first imagined. So it's all go back to mind science. Okay? So if you get caught up with this boy they're telling you about named Jesus, you're going to forget your I am self, your true self. That's why I removed Jesus out the Bible. Go get that Bible. Okay, the link down below. Okay, that's why I call it 66 books of magic, but I know it's more books than that, but they give you 66, okay? You get the real Bible in Ethiopia with all the books and so on, okay? And I leave a blank space to write your name. That's what I told the brother from Trinidad. And he said, no, you can't remove Jesus out of the Bible, which I don't do that. And he realized he just had to put his name, which is I am. Is when you read and you read in that, whether is it Zeus or wherever the name come from, you just have to switch it with your I am. You could never say I am and not referring to yourself. That's why I walk in and giving you by the end of this year a I am pocket Bible that I can walk with. And with some I am affirmation too. You're gonna get the affirmation Bible too, okay? By the end of the year, you get those little pocket books you can walk with and use them. And you see the changes that will happen in your life. This is no joke, you know. You see, most people they get a bunch of knowledge, but they don't act when ideas come to them. That's the trap, you know. They make it so intellectual that you just get knowledge. You understand? But when ideas come to you, can't act on the ideas. Someone say, these people in high places are not humans. You're not a human either. You're just having a human experience. I'm not human. I know what I experience. I'm not going to call a human. That's beyond humanity, bro. I've gone beyond humanity. When you go beyond your skull, you're no longer physical, you're going spiritual. And you're told that you're going to change from mortal to immortal in a twinkling of an eye. That twinkling of an eye is when the eye opens, you know. When you hear people talking about activated pineal gland and do this and do that, don't bother with them. Those people who do all of the videos, they never had no experience, you know. Because you can't do nothing to get that. You have to be chosen for that. Everybody calling this world for a purpose. Some of us born to be mystic like myself. You understand? I come from a mystical order. Okay? From a Melchizedek order. Okay? Someone say mention Bob Marley. You know, if I be truthful with you, Bob Marley was a hybrid, you know. Yeah, father was a white man from England. He was a hybrid. You know, these people, whenever they give you anything, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like for example, man might say, "Oh, Bob Marley had such a knowledge and this and that," but he could have gotten it from his father, from his father, parents, and so on. Okay, because he was a hybrid. Okay, and they could have given him that kind of knowledge about the Bible, and then he come and he sing all of these songs and so on and all of that. You know what I mean? Just the same thing like there's a man named Manly P. Hall who they claims when he was so young he had so much knowledge and so on and all of that. But who knows if he had access to certain things from the brotherhood of fraternity from ever since before when he was young, and they teach him and bring him up to that, and they try to tell him well, he infiltrate and so on and all of that. Yeah, you understand? You have to take their story with a grain of salt. I always take it with a grain of salt. But my brother, my sister, I'll never lie to you. Everything I experience happened to me naturally, man. That's why I've been teaching the inner sun science and technology. I look at the sun. I see what the sun doing to all of humanity. I see what the sun do to nature. And you telling me that I don't have an inner sun? Yes, you have an inner sun. And you have to activate that inner sun. And they definitely give you a SON to swap the SUN in you, the light that is in you, the steely light that is in you, by giving you an idol and tell you he's the light of the world. How could a SON be the light of the world when a SON can't exist unless there first be the SUN? You see how they're keeping people dumb? Someone says here, it's always a pleasure to hear you. Okay, Jennifer. Okay, nice of you to make that statement. It's always a pleasure to serve the people, okay, who want this knowledge and would apply it in their life and make it wisdom, okay? Someone say, well, I get a reward if I hit the thumbs up. Actually, you're getting the reward right now, okay? Because this kind of knowledge coming straight from someone who is not just speaking from what he read in a book or what he research. Man speaking from his experience itself. You can't go anything more than that. Experience is the greatest teacher. That's why I always encourage you to get your experience. Start to practice as much as possible to visualize, form and shape and mold things in your mind and see it be manifest in this three-dimensional world and start to live your life as a God who is in control of your own destiny. Then you don't need no mediator between you and your Savior, because you find the saving power and the redeeming power right within you. That is why, in spite of whatever I am facing on social media, I'm not gonna give up. That's why I type A to be sure to like and take this channel to 25k subscribers. Okay, and then from 25k we're gonna go to 100k. And when you bring your energy with my energy, together we must stand. But divided we're gonna fall. We have to stand together. Forget about those who are gonna sell out. Okay, to get views and so on on social media. I refuse that. That was promised to me early when I start. I'm not afraid to speak. They say you could get views, it could go viral, we could do that and we could do this for you. I said, I said, get thee behind me. I recognize the devil. I said, I'm not gonna bow down to you and worship you. Never happen. I'm gonna call no one no Lord and Master. I'm never gonna do that. So when people say, oh, we ancestor was, I say ancestor is. As one of them. Still free. Someone here says, well, being enlightened is a reward unto itself. Someone say, Jesus loves you. So you're going to look for love on the outside and not look for love on the inside. No one in this world loves me but me. Don't let nobody fool you. If you believe that there's someone outside yourself who loves you, you're fooling yourself. You understand what I'm saying? It's only you could love you. No one else can love you. Your mother who raised you and bring you up, there's a part of her that is built that way. She's naturally nourishing and so on. Just you see, men and women are built different. Okay, so that nurturing part of a woman is she displaying, you understand, why she's actually a woman and why she's a mother. Okay, and why no woman never come out on no side of no man. Okay, literally speaking. And then after that, every man on this planet come out of a woman. Says, so it's stupid. So those who talking about Jesus, right? How could it be that God who's supposed to be perfect and omnipotent and omnipresent and omniscient and so on, right? How is it? He gonna take the first woman out of a man, and then after that, all the other man come out of a woman. Make no sense. It make absolutely no sense, bro. Okay, so I don't want Jesus to love me. I have to love myself. Okay, don't even look for love from a man. I look for love from a woman. You have to love yourself. And if you give love, love must come back to you. It must. It's a law. You can't plant pumpkin and reap watermelon. It's a law. Don't make nobody fool you. Somebody say BMGI asked two friends last week the same question as to why an enslaved person pray to and believe in the same God. Would that not be insanity? I think you want to put it right. Insanity. Of course it is. Okay. You when you went to school, they tell you how your people were enslaved. And when you look, you see the slave, those who were enslaved and the slave master having the same savior. You must question that, and there's something wrong with that. And then if you're looking for love, then people come and tell you, oh, Jesus love you. Because you're looking for love. The loveless never find no love because they're looking for it outside of themselves. You have to find your love. You have to find the love within yourself. That's why the ignorance of black people that be shown in the dating games, like pop the balloon. When the woman will say they're looking for a man of God, and their terminology of a man of God is a man who goes to church, and they're correct. They're never looking for God, man. You know, they're looking for a man of God. So they put in the man before God, but I put in God before the man. I put in the horse before the cat, the power that's speaking to you right now, the power that I can't see, but I could hear. That's the power you can't see, but I could display it. Yeah, and when they display it, you don't be the lender, you don't be the borrower. I mean, you just be the lender, and you just be above, you don't be beneath. You don't go to the bank for loans and mortgages. There's a man, there's a white man named Dave Ramsey. Yeah, Dave Ramsey. Okay, and there's another man named a Japanese man, I think, named Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote the book Rich Dad and Poor Dad, right? He doesn't really like up Dave Ramsey man that much because Kiyosaki does say you must go into debt, okay? Because all the time about is real estate. Like if real estate is the only thing, okay? And so he must go into debt and so on, right? And then Dave Ramsey just said don't go in debt. Because he know that the borrower is a slave to the lender. And so I see this guy interviewing him, and you must check out this guy. People who listen to me, you must check out this guy and see what I'm telling you. This guy with the school of hard knocks, who's always asks all these multi-millionaires questions about how they get rich. He always asks them this particular question: do you believe in God? People missing it. It's a trick question. You ask most millionaire people, do you believe in God? Everyone ain't gonna say yes. When you watch their life, you know it's not true because they don't understand it. It's a trick question. And he asked Dave Ramsey that. And then when Dave Ramsey didn't just say Jesus, he said the great I am. And then he tried and say, yeah, Jesus is king. And they laugh. When Kanye West said they get tricked, thinking back about man 2,000 years ago. Someone say they love Jesus. That's your business who you love. You understand? I love myself. Okay? Because if I don't love myself, I have no love at all. Okay? So you go love Jesus. Your parents been saying the same shit. Okay? And when you go in the supermarket, you could go tell the cashier that Jesus paid the price too, you know. See, among the black people was getting locked up for PPP loan. Oh my God. Someone say, what's up, little man? Someone else says, the government got them hooked on pills. Yeah. Now pills regulated and expensive. Fentanyl is cheap. Oh, thank you for the information. Fentanyl is cheap. What's the next thing the government give them? America here. American here. Yeah, that's what's happening in America. And then now the boy Trump want to blame fentanyl on Venezuela because you are the oil and the gas. You are control the Caribbean. You understand? Because you know there are a bunch of puppet leaders down in these parts, but only so far the biggest puppet one is the one in Trinidad. And you know, Trinidad, look, Trinidad depend on my country more than we depend on them, you know. Yeah, because why Trinidad money devalue. So they get all our goods down there. We have to send all our goods down there and so on and all of that. And then people bring up different, they can't bring back up money. That'll bring them back certain goods. That's what they do. and just the other day, our prime minister was speaking out again to show the people how Trinidad is not even part of the OECS, okay, which is Organization Eastern Caribbean State, about 11 different small islands, right? Yet Trinidad benefit from them more than them, millions and millions and millions, billions of dollars. You understand? From our thing. For example, up here, where I live, people buy things by the bag. The things that we buy by the bag, like sweet potatoes, dasheen, Edos. You buy green banana by the hand. You buy yam by a heap. But in those countries, they buy by the pound. And then people in these parts want to leave down in these parts and run go to places like America and so on. And try to say land of opportunity. And when you land opportunity right between the two airs, and we can live a better life down here than in America. Yes, it's the truth. And England. Sometimes people leave America, England, Canada, and come down here and they ask themselves, how the hell these people leave in these countries to run to come up here? Sometimes when mango season in, you know, you see among the mango that's been the ground spoiling. Yeah. Yet they have in my country program talk about zero hunger. Nobody do hungry down here. Don't make nobody fool you. Only people lazy. Somebody else here, BMG, point out to them that the car, the KA and BA go back to ancient. Yeah, everything go back to ancient. Go all the way back to the ancient Mesopotamia, all the way back to Egypt and so on. Everything. Hence, you have Kabbalah, everything go all the way back. Even Islam, yeah. Has their sacred stone, the Kaaba, yeah. This thing is shaped like a black box. Okay. But people say they go in Mecca and so on and all of that. Yeah. The chair life, the Kabbalah, I represent the chair life. Now, I remember one time I visited a preacher who since I was a little boy, he said I would be used greatly and so on. When he was sick, but he died now, right? I went to him and I was trying to tell him that this thing about Jesus and so on was a lie. Okay. And he wouldn't believe me, right? But he said he had one question he was asking himself. And he all time wanted the answer to the question and I answered for him. He wanted to know what the flag that Israel and so on is carrying. I see, just the other day, I see a Jamaican artist on a stage singing and to the back of it. That's why I don't listen to Jamaican artists and the dancehall and all of these people. They sell out too, you know. Yeah, man. Them Jews control them. I don't write check for them. If not them directly, they have somebody to contact them and give them thing. What they're doing to back he's singing, as he's singing conscious music, we can conscious music, he's singing with the back of that. Where people not knowing what it mean. And I stood up and give the preacher who was asking me, I give him a sign and show him the sign. Use my body and show him the sign. He never doubt me with that. And that man, watch me, that man say all his life, I want to know the meaning of it. And he didn't doubt me, so he died believing in that part. Though he didn't accept what I was telling him about this idol, Jesus. You see, when I speak about this idol named Jesus, I'm talking about the idol they gave you. The one that I grew up with my grandmother, they have stick up in the house. Some people, a person told me that where they live in, when they see picture of Jesus, they never see no blonde hair and blue eye. But I telling the one she was blonde hair and blue eye. Person was saying red hair, but remember they have all different kind of Jesus, eh? You have the saga boy Jesus, you have the movie star Jesus, You had the alcoholic Jesus. You want to look at alcoholic. You had the corny Jesus. You had the shitty. Kind of. You see, the image is a diverse image, you know. It's a you will spend your entire life in hell for billions of years. Well, boy, for you spend all of the years in hell, you have to be eternal. You have to be eternal. Huh? You're stupid to really believe your body is some eternal hell. Oh my. I want our people to wake up. What was before humans? Spirit. Humans just an experience they have it. Okay, it was always spirit. Okay, the spirit is infinite. I know what I'm talking about. Bro, when you wake up, you know, and you come out of your skull, you know, you come out from your skull in another form, then you start to understand them Terminator movie with that man bosses machine and so on. That's why we think going on right now with AI and all of that. Hmm? Then you start to understand, you know, that the Bible is more of an occultic book than anything else. Another revolutionary in Haiti was Jean. Yeah, Dessalines. Yeah. Dessalines. Yeah, he was another revolutionist. Someone say Rasta. Okay. Someone say Bumbleclot. Someone say we love it. Y'all. Love to everyone though. Someone say, can I make out that's a good Iblis? Worship Allah for 700,000 years. Even Iblis is forgiven, but humans are not. I don't know about that. I don't speak from intellect or what they tell me about who worship this. Look, if you read Quran, I tell you about Muhammad and how much thousands of years and this and that. Christianity and Islam and so on, they're the same kind of thing. And if you study history, they're the same kind of people who went, the two religions who was at war, they're the same two religions enslaved black people. Big time. It is sub-Sahara desert slave trade. They say they used to castrate the black men. Okay. Someone says please enlighten us as to the location of hell, and if you have visited to provide a first-hand experience. Yeah, if you was to ask people that, they can't do that. Because the parrotism, they just repeating what they hear others say. You must notice when they tell you to accept Jesus as Lord and Savior, they tell you repeat after me. The same thing too when they do the marriage ceremony too, they say repeat after me. All of them is scam. A bunch of scam. Someone say you don't have a hurricane boat to hit. That is in Jamaica. Jamaica's supposed to get a hurricane. Okay. Not where I'm here. Okay. Where I'm living is about maybe 5 to 6 hours by plane to go to Jamaica. Someone here says, are you gay? I'm always happy. I'm always happy. And if I was like say a homosexual man, I wasn't gonna hide. No, I wasn't gonna hide. I would come out plain and straight. I wouldn't hide. I'm telling you that 100% would never hide, and I would never discourage anyone who feel they like that to hide it. Okay, a lot of men normally act like if they love women, and they hide in it, they closet, they in the closet. Okay, those are the people who's like that. And sometimes, like this person who asks the question, people who sometimes ask questions like that, I would like to know what is their motive for asking questions like that. Are we discussing so much a thing, okay, to help people to grow and to expand? And he's talking about someone's sexuality, okay? Since I know myself, I've always loved woman, I will always love woman, okay? And if that was to change in any way, which it would never change, okay? I'm telling you, I'm not going to hide. Never hide. I realize society is so brainwashed. You understand? For example, right? A person will go to church and hear a preacher preaching against LGBTQ and so on, right? But the preacher would endorse whether it's a Republican or Democrat. Okay, they get involved in politics and they encourage the people to get involved in politics and they tell them God give them leaders to lead them. And then when they mark an X and the politician legalize those things, how you going to preach against it? Same thing with alcohol. How you preach against alcohol and all of these things when you're part of the religious and political system. And you can't run a religious system unless you register with the political system, because the political system could accuse you for money laundering. But you will get away still, you know. That's why the fella in Trinidad get away. Okay, but every now and then they put some pressure on you and say money laundering. So, yo, asking people then kind of question is so stupid. Because all them, you think if you ask Eddie Long the question, Eddie Long would tell you yes? You think all of the effeminate men are in churches? You think if you ask them, you think they're going to tell you yes? I remember one time a lady was in England and she had left Christianity and things. She was listening to me and so on. And she told me they were asking her a lot to come back to church, come back to church. I said, okay, tell them if they invite you to church, you will come, but they would have to come at your place after church and meet with the person who you just listen to and let us have a conversation. And they agree to it. That was the biggest mistake they make. They did it, and then she called me, because I tell you when they reached, call me. And then she called me. And there was one man there asking me question, are you married? No. Are you in a relationship with a woman? No. Are you impotent? No. Are you gay? No. What is it again? I asked if he impotent, I asked him if he gay, I asked if he has sex. No, every one of them he said no. And you know, after that they never come back again. And then the woman tell me that was the time it really dawned on her that wait, this guy had to be gay. And she was going to church, being among the kind of people, and she didn't really realize, because she said, you know, this thing about brother and sister and so on. And that when she really catch herself, and she said after that, he would do it just so she can kind of avoid her, because he thought that the woman put me up to it, but the woman didn't know nothing that I was gonna say. Okay, it's one afterwards I said I don't pick up his spirit long time. Okay, so you know, if you have disown, you could disown people. Somebody say, where Jamaica you from? Sun shining. I'm not in Jamaica, okay? I'm in the Caribbean, but not in Jamaica. I don't believe in Jesus as a prophet. I believe in God. Someone say, big gorilla. I will read everybody comment. Doesn't matter what comment, you know what I mean? That people want to say, do. You'll always have these kind of people, okay, coming on in your life. You know, some people does be deleting people. I don't have no time with that. There was a guy I saw from America who claimed to say his father was some Messiah, black Messiah, Malika Jackson and so on. And I asked him, keep asking one question. Okay. And then he started talking about blacking people and all of that. You know what I mean? So me, I'm not here to block people. I have nothing to hide. Absolutely nothing. So people free to make whatever comment they want to make. You understand? When you know what you're talking from, you're not talking from books. You're not talking just because you want to make $1. You're not talking because you're looking for fame. You're not looking for none of those things. You have a true, genuine awakening experience, and you're sharing it with the world. You understand? Someone say, hi from USA, Ohio. Great having someone from Ohio tuning in. If Allah forgive, okay, that was Nimrod answering this guy. You know, sometimes when these people come on and so on, you know what I mean, it will just be back and forth and so on, okay? That's what it's gonna be. The Quran is written by Allah. The Bible is written by man. Don't think I'm that stupid. Well, from what I know, God and man are one. So I don't understand how one book was written by a man and another book written by God. All of them is still by the man, because you have to come from the mind. No book can be written that wasn't first a thought or first an idea or first imagined. And the man who made this statement, even his words, his comment, it had to first be a thought, it had to first be an idea, it had to first be imagined. So Josh Mood, you're talking choppiness. And that will just happen when you get brainwashed. Okay? You didn't born in this world with a Quran. You didn't born in this world with saying Allah. Okay? You didn't born in this world saying God either. All of them is just indoctrination. But when you have your awakening and you come to self-realization, that no one else could answer the question but you. Because only you alone have the experience. My experience is not your experience. You can have a thought for me, I can have a thought for you. So religion will have you always projecting your thoughts onto other people. That's what it's all about. Someone said the Quran is okay, that's the same thing and I read it. Let me read this. Great content. Keep up the good work. I need help. I have multiple voices in my head. You need to calm your mind down. You need to do some deep breathing. You need to practice meditation. You need to do some grounding. Take off your shoes, man. Go out in nature. Get some good sunlight. You know, to do all of these things. They keep telling me to buy cucumber. But the cucumber good. It go to get some nutrients and some dehydration too. Okay? Baby oil and the voice in it. Songs like Diddy. Okay, coconut oil. You need, virgin coconut oil. I always use virgin coconut oil on my skin. Okay, cucumber is just speaking about, vegetables and eating things raw. Okay, so you need to watch your diet. Come off of some of the fast food and the junk food. All the McDonald's, they put them in the black areas and so on and all of that. And the Whole Foods and so on, they only certain people go shop in those places and so on. Like, for example, when people come in my country from America and Canada and England, they like to brag and boast and they like to make you feel like up there, everything behind it to you and a gold spoon and down here. When you're well informed, you put them in their place. Let them know a certain supermarket, they just go and shop and buy a bunch of things that they produce specifically for third world country and for poor people in those countries. While on the other hand, like for example, down here, all the fish I eat, it comes straight from the sea. Most people living in big country, they get them fish from a farm, not from the sea. The rich eating the fish from the sea, the actual, real, natural thing. You understand? So it's a blessing. It's a blessing living down in these parts here. So my brother, my sisters, my brother here who made that comment, okay, eat more vegetables, that stick more to nature, okay. This baby oil, coconut in the Caribbean, coconut oil. My child and so on, my child born, the first oil go upon her skin is coconut oil, and to this day it's been coconut oil. Down in my country, when child born, just born, it's coconut oil they use on the skin. Someone say Iblis became a devil because he did not prostrate to Adam. You see, that's when people get a bunch of theology and whether from the Quran or from the Bible and all them things, they make a bunch of comments, and that's just expressing their consciousness. That's all they know. Parrot, just repeating what somebody else say. Not making this a religious discussion, but there was no Quran in the day of Muhammad, and the first surah, now the 96, was allegedly given by the angel Gabriel on Mount Hira. As far as I'm concerned, an angel is a messenger, always a messenger. Whether you read it in the Quran or you read it in the Bible, and what does bring message to you and from you? It is your own thoughts that bring message to you and from you. That's why people just miss their angel when the ideas come to them and they don't know. Someone say even if Iblis is lifted from hell for 100,000 years and told to go and prostrate to Adam, Iblis will refuse. I don't know how people believe all these things. Some people are told they get 7 virgins when they go heaven. Okay, so carry out a jihad. It make me laugh. But religion will keep in confusion. Someone say, I am from Israel. Someone say, Muslim. Someone say, I was sent to get your blood type. Not up for discussion. Okay. Someone say, whoa, cool shades, man. Thank you very much. Basically, it's a reading glass, but it look good. I do all of us need the board from the skull experience to evolve? I wouldn't say that all of us really need that, but I can say to you that when you start to learn to believe in yourself, you start to learn to embrace yourself, you're going to start to see life from a different angle. When you start to understand that the Bible is a book of mind science, and you start to see it from a book of from the perspective as a book of mind science, when you start to see it that way, and you remove the idol Jesus out of your mind and realize it's all about you, okay? And you realize that all of us having this human experience, we are governed by certain laws, okay? Once you start to get those kind of understanding, things start to open up differently. You start to see life from a different angle. And it will definitely bring a change in your life. Okay? And that is what you want. That's what you want. It will help you to become more aware. It will help to wake you up. Okay? So, as long as you could get the experience to realize that you're the master, then you'll be able to say, I am the master. Okay? If you ever watch the movie The Last Dragon, I think, with Bruce Roy, I am the master. That's when he started to use the power. That when the power come back to him. Someone say my mom died. Someone say Jesus is a code name, just like Christopher Columbus. Okay? As a matter of fact, the whole English language is a coded language. Okay? It's a whole coded language. And unless you are awakened and become more enlightened, you wouldn't realize it's a coded language. Someone say, hello, God, Jesus here. In my second coming, how are you? Someone said Jesus is you. It means I am. Of course, that's why I removed Jesus and I put I am. Okay, in the Bible. And you could get a Bible. The link is down below. 66 books of magic. The Overcomer's Bible. Okay. Someone said, LL, how are you from God? Jesus, I don't understand that. Fight your demons, bro. Don't parry them. Yeah, everybody have to fight and control their demons, okay? But how much people are willing to accept, okay, that their demon is within their self? And how much people are willing to accept that they are both God and the devil? Not much people are going to accept that. Because you are raised to believe that you must accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. But you are never raised to believe that you must accept the devil to be your lower self, okay? My Walkman, bearded black ninja, you black. Go home and don't forget to buy. Somebody say Pastor P, DT, Reverend Epstein. So they're talking about PDD and Epstein. Well, the man who sent all the worship, down in the Caribbean Sea, up to now, we can reveal the Epstein file, you know. Because he was part of it. This a bunch of sick individuals there. And these are the kind of people telling you that you live in a God-fearing country. These are the kind of people who telling you about in God you trust. And if you don't understand that language, you miss it. You understand? And they tell you, oh, you're a Christian nation. And they tell you that you have to play allegiance to the flag and allegiance to the anthem and all of these bullshit. You understand? Someone say, I am God, aka Jesus, as my second coming. You know, anybody could say that they are God, but how many could act and prove and show by their works? And that's what I want to people to do certain things and prove, because I've done it and I know it, okay? For sure, through my experience, God never wrote a book. No, you see, the mind of man is the mouth of God, and the mouth of God is the mind of man. It's always man. Because man and God, there's no difference, there's no separation. Somebody have discovered all false gods. I am the prevailing God known as Yesh. Whichever name you want to use, it is you. Okay? Don't be afraid, it is I. Fear not, it is I. People missing it every time. That's why I say Jesus never wrote a book. Never. Okay. Everybody in this world have written a book. You book of their life, but they don't know it. And they're reading it every day. They see the display every day, but they don't understand it. Okay, somebody say Peter, James, John, Luke are European man names. Yeah, and they are no surname, you know. Okay, but realize the characters of the Bible, they are no surname. They're just states of consciousness, states of mind. Okay. Peace, great mind. The Bible, the Bible is a great story. I tell the Leviathans and dragons the most. Yeah, these stories goes all the way back to your mind. It's all about you. Okay. Someone say I am the great I am. Yes, you are. Okay. That's your name. That's your identity. I mastered destruction of our gods to be free of them all. Yes. I did the same thing to my brother. And that's why I am so free. And that's why I'm so happy too. Okay. Someone say accent is great. Well, it's just Caribbean accent, okay? Most people who live like in America, Canada, England, and so on, most people they know in the Caribbean is Jamaicans. So sometimes they think you're a Jamaican, okay? But there's a lot of countries in the Caribbean, and you need to visit them, okay? Also, before I close this live, let me appeal again to those who are listening to me to help me to continue to build my library. There are people who have sent books already for me, but I would like to get more books. I have a wish list. I could have them send it for you so you could see the wish list. The books I have on my wish list is books where I don't have already, but I had a good amount of books already, so I don't put certain books on the wish list because I have them already. But like books I would like to get and so on. And if you would like to donate, whether 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, I have a US address. I send US address for you. Also, there's someone who reached out to me with this same idea. Okay, and I was real busy. I want to let you know I was real busy. Before the week is finished, you know, I'll answer your email. I've seen your email already, but I was real busy. So I'm definitely going to answer you. And I want to say thanks in advance, okay, if you're on, okay. But I want to encourage people to help me to get more books because I want to be able to have a lot of books to help people because you can't find anything when it comes to, you know, your spiritual self and so on in any library in my country. The only kind of library you have is library with academic education. Nothing to empower people, okay? Someone says here, Yesh is the true name of Jesus. That's what someone says here, okay? Some people always know what is the true name and this and that. Those things are not important. What is important is you mastering, becoming the master of your destiny, and you'll be able to create. You're able to prove that you're the one who kill, and the one who make alive, the one who wound, the one who heal. You exercise these powers daily in your life. That's what's more important. But name and this and that and that, those things are not so important. Most people are majoring and a minor. Why would someone know that their God and write it in a code with parables and such? You do that, of course you would do that because you always want, just like how you have the rich and the poor and they print money all the time. You want to have the wise and the foolish. So you put it in code. So the foolish will never be able to read between the lines. Okay? You have to understand the law polarity. Let me just finish up these other comments here and I want to finish in a while. Why would someone, okay, who is good to you? I don't understand. Someone says Jesus is God. What about you? You're God in flesh. Jesus represents you having a human experience, but you are God. That's what he represents. Okay? He healed my addictions I had for 14 years. Who he? You heal yourself, bro. Yes, and my mental health issues. If you do not know that you heal yourself, okay, then you still have mental issues. Okay? Because all the people who believe in a literal man 2,000 years ago, blonde hair and blue eye, and believe that the Jews and these people in Israel are chosen. You have a mental health problem. Okay, someone say he heal. Someone say he heal it from one moment to another, so there is no confusion. Someone says, yeah, you healed yourself, just as I said here. You see, you heal yourself. Do us as spirit have life cycles? Of course, we do have an expiry date when we would leave here. Okay, but we do not really die as what they think is. They just, you just put up the avatar and you continue the journey. Okay, you're eternal. Okay, I went to many healers in my life for 14 years. They all said it was unhealable. But you see, you were looking for healing outside of yourself, but you found healing in yourself. Okay, you were carrying around so much belief and emotion within yourself, and you do not know it. That the science of alchemy, which is always taking place, it takes place in you unconsciously. That is why you think you got healing from the outside, and that's why people just go to healers like Benny. But that's why people just get carried away with people like Benny Hinn and all of these fake healers and so on. After asking God, Jesus, to give me signs, He gave them to me, and then He removed my sickness. If you ask for signs and symbols and so on, right, and it is genuine and you do it with feeling and emotion, because everything is based on energy, vibration, and frequency, right? You sending it out, and it's gonna return back to you. You see, most people do not understand what is happening to them every day of their life. That is why they believe that there is some entity answering their prayer. No, you're just using the science in ignorance. So you're going to get results. Everyone gets results. Okay? Even if a man was to believe in a stone, he will get results. Even if a man was to believe in a tree, you're going to get results. Okay? That's how the subconscious mind works. Once you impress that thing on the subconscious mind, you understand? That is the genie right there. Your wish is his command. So you have to understand that. Someone says here, Christ is within. Yes, that's what I've been teaching all along. Someone say, what sign? Well, first, life got to be accepted. I've already proven myself. I am known as the resurrector already. Yeah, you have to know. Okay, no one else could know for you. Someone said Jesus, I says Yeshiva, same thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter which name. It's the same. Okay, it's all about you. Real true, bro. I have lived 2.3 billion times. Okay, there's no number you could put to how much time you live here. To be honest with you, and what your experience would be when you really experience your invisible self. To be honest with you, it's eternal, and right now we're still in the eternal now. That's why there's no yesterday and tomorrow. It's just now. Okay. Salem Alikum. Salem Alikum, brother. Okay. You have to break that down in English for me. I don't really. I've never done a foreign language when I went in school, because at the age of when I went into school, into like secondary school, I didn't go from Farm 1. And you have to go from Farm 1 to start to do a foreign language. Okay, because when I leave school, I was too old to do the common entrance. I had to do school leavings. Okay, and when I asked my mother when I became an older man, she said, as a little boy, I never wanted to go to school. I always wanted to be under the fruit trees and gathering fruits together for passerby to help them, to feed them. So I always wanted was to help people. Okay, somebody say, yo, uncle, what you eat today? I haven't eaten anything for the day. Okay, I haven't eaten anything for the day. Okay, I normally do a lot of intermittent fasting. Sometimes I eat one time a day. Okay, and this is how I look. You see? So yeah, you see, I am 69 trillion years old. Another person say, if Jesus represents you, do you believe you represent him? Okay, him, you, I, me, It's still speaking about you. Okay. It's not a man who existed thousands of years ago. That is a personification. And most people are taking a personification for a person. Okay. Because look, you can see me here physically speaking and so on, right? But when I leave here and my legacy is a display of my mentality. The mentality that I live with and live by while I was having this human experience. So everything always goes back to a state of mind, a state of consciousness. Or everything always exists in consciousness. That's why consciousness is the only reality. And when you have an awakened experience, you become pure consciousness. Okay? Somebody said, no sky god is saving anyone. We are all healers. Yeah, no sky god saving you. You are your own savior. I'm a spiritual being having, another human experience. Yes, I am the truth. Yeah, and you are the way to and the life. Everything is within. Send out love into the aura field and heal the world. Yes. Okay. It doesn't matter if I send out love to the world. It's only those who accept it. Okay. Someone quote Matthew 6:22. This is where I say, if your eye be single, your whole body be full of light. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for reading my answer and not rejecting. Thanks. Okay, I'm here for everyone, even the haters too. Can the third eye be open without awakening the Kundalini energy? I think it's basically the same thing that they all are talking about. Okay, and people normally say do this and do that. I don't believe in that. Okay, I don't believe there's anything you can do, and because you do that, you will get the experience. No. Okay, what I would encourage people to do is learn to start to love themselves and believe in themselves, focus their energy within and so on. And whatever experience comes with that, okay, I can guarantee you it's going to keep bringing you into a better place. And you're going to keep evolving and evolving and evolving. Okay. Salem Alakum means peace unto you, BlackMadGuru. Thank you very much, okay, for explaining that. You align your chakras, awaken your Kundalini, and raise your Christ to heaven, the pineal gland, third eye. Okay. All different cultures have different names. Some say you're gonna move from samsara to nirvana and so on. It's the same thing. Okay. Someone say must believe Jesus. I believe myself. Okay. Thank you for receiving, the greetings of us Muslims. Okay. Live today like it's your last. No regrets. Yeah, that's how you're supposed to always live life. Okay. You don't want to live in regret because you never do the things that you were told to do in terms of when you get the ideas. Always work on your ideas. Okay. Don't just use your imagination and use visualization, scripting, and all of these rituals, and then you do not continue by acting and the inspiration when the inspiration come to you, when the ideas come to you. Okay, I'm gonna close in the next minute or so. Let me just read these last comments. I'm not a hater at all, just participating with those who speak in my name. Enjoy. Okay, you're most welcome. Okay, and I do not see anyone when they come on as hater. It doesn't matter what they might say. I just see that people just expressing their consciousness or their awareness. Okay, so for a person who is negative, everything to them will be negative, so they will interpret everything in a negative way, and you just have to understand that. Okay. Someone say, big youth, where you from? I'm from the Caribbean. I live St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Okay. Big up, King. Big up to you too. Subscribe. Thank you for the subscription. This is where I will end. I want to thank you all very much. I want to repeat that if you can send a book or two, okay, you can drop me an email or send you my address. I have an American mailbox address that I can send to you that you can help me with a book or two. Okay, I'll send the wish list. You see the wish list, you can choose whether you want to send me 2 books, 3 books, 4 books, or whatever, how much you want to send. Just books I want. That's the only thing I'll ever ask for, books, because I want to be able to have knowledge to share to people who are open and willing. I want to be able to, have a little place that people can come and they can read. Okay, I want to make sure do that. Okay, and with your help, you know what I mean, it'll happen faster. Okay. The more people send 2, 3, 4 books, 5 books, it'll be better. Okay. And help people in my country, whichever way I can. Okay. Someone say, what books you looking for? As I said, send me the email, I'll send him a wish list. That's what I did for the person who said they sent me about 5 books. Someone said they sent me about 5 books. I haven't gotten to answer about their email yet, but I'll definitely answer about the email. I was real busy this week. I was real busy. You know, I just started another little business again. You didn't put it that way. You understand? I was real busy dealing with that business. Okay. So, my brother, my sister, these things I just speak to you, you know, I want you to experience it too. I want you to have the experience, man. Okay. You could be your own boss. You understand? You could be your own boss and have things working for you. If this kind of knowledge, you put it to work and just wait for the inspiration. Just wait for the inspiration. So, my brother, my sister, let me leave you by saying, always follow your intuition. And that's why I would encourage you to check out the links that are down below and let your intuition lead you and guide you into what to do. So that besides, I just want to say peace. Love you all. Out.